guys, today we are visiting Bryce Canyon National Park
in Utah.
Oh, we're having a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, this is worth getting out of the truck for. Because it ain't light out yet. 6:44 in the morning. Somebody made us get up at 5 o'clock this morning. And then she turned around and she made pancakes and sausage patties and a great big old cup of coffee for me. So, you're forgiven. We are headed to Bryce Canyon, which is about 100 miles away from where we're camped. But it's our last leg of the big 5 national parks in Utah. And we're gonna go back to Zion and try Zion again.
Try again.
But in the meantime, today seemed like a good day to get up, get cold, and go hiking.
Yes.
Because we're weird. It's a haul to get up there, and we wanted to get an early start so that we could take in as much as we could for the day. I guess it's a big park. I don't know. I haven't read much about it.
Well, and also because they are on winter hours, I did clarify that on the official website. So that means the visitor center will close a little bit early. While the park is open 24 hours, some of the things that we're going to want to do, like for Miss Ad and her ranger program and all that, we knew that we needed to get as early a start as possible. Because you never know with the ranger program, each park has a different one, and so some of them are pretty complicated and you have to go do lots of different activities, and some of them are more you take the book and you do a few experiences, so you never know. And sometimes it is a real challenge to get back to the visitor center by 4:30 if you're trying to enjoy the park and all that. So we thought, since we don't know, and it's our last of the big 5, and we've heard lots of really great things about Bryce Canyon, I would say of all, other than Arches, of all the Utah parks, Bryce Canyon is the one I've heard the most about.
Definitely one that your mom and dad have talked about a lot.
Yeah, people have talked for years in our lives about Bryce Canyon. So, and fun fact, I can't believe I'm doing this and you're not. It is the largest collection of hoodoos on Earth. So
there you go. The more you know.
Star. Yes. And so we did not even realize that this was going to be the hoodoo trip, but it ended up being it. So anyhow, he's tired.
You got me up at 5 o'clock.
I know. Don't feel bad.
We're gonna actually see the sunrise. When's the last time that we saw a sunrise?
I don't know. We're taping this on the day that daylight savings falls back, so he's carrying on. But like back home, it's almost 10 o'clock, or it would have almost been 10 o'clock.
9 o'clock. It's been 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock right now, but with falling back, it would have been 10 o'clock. So I'm not feeling too bad for him. It's too early for math.
I'm going to see if I can figure this out. So, daylight savings just happened last night in our time. Not your time, but our time. See, I'm already confusing myself. But I have a question for you. If a woman gives birth to twins, and she gives birth to twins on the night of daylight savings time, if she gives birth to one at 1:59 a.m. at daylight savings, and she gives birth to the other one at 2:01 a.m. after daylight savings time, technically which one's older? Because one of them is born at 1:59 a.m., but then the other one is born at 1:01 a.m. What do you do? In the comments below, I want to know. I've been trying to figure this thing out for a week.
I think reality matters. Not constructs that we've created.
Well,
Turn left onto the I-15 south
Oh,
ramp
now
and merge onto
Google
I-15
gets
south.
mad at you when you stop to get gas.
Like, the one thing that they really should create is just like an easy button on all of these where you just say...
In a quarter mile, turn left onto 3430 East.
Where you just say, getting gas. Like, you could just hit it and say, getting gas. Done getting gas. I know you can go into settings and mute her or pause her or whatever, but...
Speaking of muting and pausing, we're going to mute
gas.
and pause and get gas. So, enjoy this view. We're up here at Sunset Point. We're going to take a mile-long hike between Sunset Point and Sunrise Point before we do the lecture with one of the park rangers here in order to get Addie's range badge here at Bryce Canyon National Park. Got to make sure we get Aki all packed away here, bundled up. It's a little colder on this hike today than normal. We've been walking around parks probably in the upper 50s to the 60s, up into the 70s this whole time. And we actually dipped down into the 20s driving up here today. It's about 37 degrees right now, and it's not going to get much warmer. So we got layers on today. And kid stole my hat. But she looks cute in it, so whatever. One reason it's nippy is because we're way high in the elevation. It's like 8,000 foot where we're standing, so the air's also thin, so we're probably going to get a little winded today, but totally worth it. It's totally worth it to be here when it's just above freezing because, well, there's nobody here for that matter. There's a few people here, but not near as packed as what it usually would be. We're on the end of the shoulder season. We're getting towards what they call their winter season that they just started, so not too many people here, which is fine by us, especially because we got Aki walking and we don't want him, you know, jumping up on people and stuff like that. He's a social dog.
Aki's sporting his sweater because it's cold out today. You want to go see all the people, don't you? He's a people puppy. That's what he is. Aki and I are hanging out outside of the Bryce Canyon Visitor Center as Miss Ad and Dad go check out the Junior Ranger program. And also, I think there's a film that they're wanting to watch. So Aki and I are just hanging outside having some fun. He's people watching.
So today we are at Bryce Canyon and we're gonna go into the visitor center to get the Junior Ranger stuff.
Are you excited?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even though you stole my hat. So Miss Ad and I are learning, before settlers came in and kind of drove some of the wildlife away, there used to be wolves and wolverines and grizzly bears here. And then as people came in and settled and farmed the land and everything, it drove those animals away. So they were talking about the impact that humans have had on this area. But then they set up the National Park Service to kind of preserve it. I don't know that they brought any grizzly bears back, and frankly, I hope not. But if we see one, I hope it's from the car.
So I just finished up my Junior Ranger book and we're gonna go to the visitor center to get my badge. So yeah.
Miss Addie's getting her ranger badge, and Aki and I are here chilling, well, actually warming up inside the truck, while I am totally geeking out, filling out my new passport book. I have an old one that I've been using starting after our Texas trip last year. I didn't have one during it, but I got one between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But when we went back to Big Bend is when I started it, and I got this. But the problem is, see, what you do is you do a little passport at each national park, and then you get the stamp and you collect it from each one, and it tells a little bit about them and all that kind of fun stuff. But mine's getting full and it's broken to region, And we are getting ready to head into another region right now. After this trip, I think we're headed back. I believe it's into the western region. And when we do, I have no more places for stamps. So I'm going to put this in the little pocket of this big version, which also has extra pages. Like you can buy expander packs for it so you don't run out. And it has a little checklist so you can check off all the national parks you've been to, national monuments, and that kind of thing. So I'm kind of going through it and just making note of all that kind of stuff. Just a fun little thing that I like to do and Addie likes to look through. It just kind of helps us keep track of our travels and all the fun places we've been. And now someone is taking a nap, or he was. He just was wanting up here on my lap. So he's going to be here while we wait. He's like, dude, you shaved off all my hair in Albuquerque. Took me to 70-degree weather. And now it's freezing. That's why we got him a sweater. He's sleeping.
You wanna go? Oh. Mikey, you wanna go? Huh? Puppy? You wanna go?
So while I may have a big fear of spiders, my beautiful wife has a huge fear of heights. Going in Bryce Canyon, we're headed towards Rainbow Point, and all we do is go up and up and up and up and up. And on her side is the canyon, or part of one of the canyons, one of the deep gorges. So she looks over, she grabs the OS handle. I think we all know what that stands for. Don't put it in the comments down below. Oh shoot, that's good enough. And she's having the time of her life right now. So much so she won't even talk. You know she's scared when she's not talking. You know she's not happy either.
Miss Dad and I are at Rainbow Point, so we're headed out to see what it looks like. What do you think we're gonna see, Ad? Do you think we might see a hoodoo or two?
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's what
As high as airplanes, according to Addie. What do you want?
Whoa.
Whoa? Goes down, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm trying to make the camera go wider and it doesn't.
What do you think, Mom?
I think it's cool.
One thing one of the rangers talked about was that they had a couple wildfires this year, one in August and one in September due to lightning strikes around here. The evidence of the wildfires is even right here at Rainbow Point. If you look, you can see on the fencing, it's charred where there have been wildfires before. And then you can see trees that are laid down. One behind me, you can see where it's broke off. But that's one thing we were talking with Addie about, was what she remembered from up there at Sequoia National Forest and National Park. Like this tree right here would be a good example of how thick the bark is and how these trees are able to withstand the fires and it's a natural thing for them to withstand those fires, and it burns all the brush out below, and it lets the trees drop the seeds to make new trees, and then ones that survive the fires become great big trees. That one right there didn't make it. Well, that was a glimpse of Bryce Canyon, as far as from a vehicle point of view. We did do some walking around, but we couldn't do a lot of walking around. Like, we really couldn't go on any hikes because we got the dog with us. If you stop at one of the viewpoints, you can have them in the parking lot, but they don't want you taking them on the trails.
Or on the viewpoint.
No, because they don't want their doo-doo around their hoodoos. But
you're supposed to pick that up anyway.
Yeah. If you do doo-doo around the hoodoos or anywhere else, pick up your doo-doo.
Yes, and we do.
Otherwise, that's bad juju. Anywho. But yeah, now we're going to head back to the cow, grab something to eat. Bryce Canyon is not really a canyon. It's a
false advertising.
It's a fault, a split. It's where the ground rose up over millions of years and then split up the top, and so it's not a real canyon.
Canyons are formed by rushing waters.
Yes. And then there was the natural bridge that we saw that wasn't really a natural bridge. It was an arch, because bridges are formed by the same thing, the rushing waters that erode away the stone, and arches are formed by the ice breaking it, the erosion and breaking down of everything, and but they named it a bridge, just the same as they named that a canyon. It's false advertising.
What was Addie calling it? Addie? Misnomers. Yes.
And you'd think that they could change it, but they decided they didn't want to, so
hey,
it's their park, they can do what they want.
You could totally see and get a full day's experience by driving your car and stopping and hopping out of your car to the viewpoints, and there's so many. It was a full day's worth of activity, but what we've said oftentimes with a lot of these places is we are not located close to here, so what we would like to do sometime in the future is there's lots of recreational opportunities around here, lots of state parks, so we'd like to come back and stay closer and be able to kennel Aki and actually go on some of the hikes, because we really like to get in there.
And folks might be asking, well, why didn't you just kennel Aki? Well, the place that we found that does kenneling, and they did a really good job, they're closed on Sunday and Monday. So
well, and even then though, with it being back where our camp was, they also have closing hours, and so we have to rush
they
back.
Close at 6, and it's a 2-hour drive just to get up here, and then if you want to experience the park, especially if we were going to hike, that was going to be 2 or 3 hours
it
on
just
trails.
Doesn't make sense on the days when we have to drive for a long time, but we have been kenneling him whenever we go to the parks that are nearby and that kind of thing, and really, so we can really have an experience and get in and do the hikes. So we have a mixed bag of things going on. When we have the opportunity, we do that, and when we don't, we try to experience it from the car, because we know that that's what some folks, that's all they get to experience anyways. But we have this list of places. Okay, well, if we come back, here's where we'd like to stay, and here are all the little things that we could do in those areas. So
Bryce is definitely one of them.
Oh yeah, and I don't think our list, and another reason why we weren't staying near Bryce Canyon this time of year is because of how cold it is. It was this morning a 40-degree difference between where we were staying and Bryce Canyon.
Yeah.
And so we like to stay warm, like for the most part. We'll come and bundle up for the day, but like, you know, we don't want to deal with the freezing pipes and all that kind of stuff.
That's why we took off from Indiana.
So we would have to pick a different time of year to come here. So this was really about us kind of getting to experience the Big Five, and we totally had an awesome day and got to do that. But if we come back, we'd like to come back in a warmer month, and then also like do a lot of, Utah has tons of state parks, and we would like to come back and do a lot more of the state parks and those kinds of
I
things.
could definitely come back to Utah for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But anywho, we're gonna head back to the cow, grab some dinner, and if y'all liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up. And if you have not become a member of the Crock Posse, what is the Crock Posse?
The Crock Posse is our slow cooking, traveling, foodie loving, instant potting, recipe loving family around here.
And if you want to be a part of that, our little gang, then all you got to do is click the subscribe button down below. And if you want to know as soon as we put up a new video, click the bell. Miss Ed, what do we call the bell?
The ding-a-ling.
That's right, click the ding-a-ling, and we'll let you know as soon as we put up a new video just for you. And y'all, whatever you do, laugh often.
Eat good food.
And speak life.
Bye, guys.
If you want to see the latest, click on the left right here. If you feel like subscribing, click on the right, my dear. And if you think we're funny enough to send us money, click the Patreon